This is mostly for the people who are going to come back and rewatch this because I'm casting this to be recorded, so it'll air back up on my YouTube channel. So for anyone else joining in, you're likely going to be coming in, well, live in the middle of it. So I'm just going to cast this, copy some links, and paste it so everybody knows I'm live. And then after this point, you guys can just answer any questions you really want. I'll try to do my best to answer whatever I can. Let's see. Alright, I am now officially live, it says. And let's just get people over here now. Copy. If YouTube decides to be friendly about this, or not. There we go. Boom. Do. Not the waiting game, which is pretty boring. Oh, two people are watching. I don't know who, but you guys, there's a chat bar in the right-hand side of the video screen so you can chat and say hi. Oh, two people are watching. I don't know who, but you guys, there's a chat bar in the right-hand side of the video screen so you can chat and say hi. And I guess, yeah, I'll just start with what this is all about. This is about the Summer Indie Book Awards. I've already introduced myself as Dragon Award nominated author R.R. Virdi of The Grave Report. And yay, we have people saying hi. Hi, Theodore. Thank you for hosting this. Thank you for having me. One person. A few more people popping in to watch. And like I said, I'll be answering questions between here on YouTube as well as Facebook. I've got several monitors open so I can multitask. Worst thing you'll probably hear is either me sniffling because I have a cold or just clickety-clack from my keyboard if I have to type out any whatevers to people. One person, a few more people popping in to watch. And like I said, I'll be answering questions. Alright, 3 people watching. As well as Facebook. I've got several monitors. Not bad. I can multitask. Worst thing you'll probably hear is either me sniffling because I have a cold or... Okay, more people popping on. Yay! Okay. So if you guys have any questions, remember, there we go. Yeah, it's a light cold. It's fine. I popped vitamin C pills and then drank some vitamin C whatever, like powdered flavored mix. I'm fine. I've been editing since this morning and signing like 500 bookmarks for bundles that people want of 2 to 100s to mail out. So yeah, I really don't have a choice. If I'm up and able to be able to do that, then I might as well be doing this. So yeah. Alright, so let's see if I can cast this link also into Nano so some people come support the event and everything. For bundles that people want of 2 to 100s to mail out, so yeah. 4 people. Yay! So, like I said, any questions here or there, I'll be happy to answer. I've already introed myself. I don't know what exactly people want to know about. I'm the author of The Grave Report. It's a paranormal investigator series set in New York. It follows the main character, Vincent Graves, who is a soul without a body. And his job is sort of to inhabit the bodies of those murdered by the paranormal and use their minds, bodies, memories, and skills to solve their murders for them. The series begins in media res, and one of the catches is the longer he does this in people's bodies, he keeps memories from those he's possessed. meaning that when it begins in media res, he's already accumulated so many memories at the cost of his original own, he doesn't remember who he is any longer. So that's part of the secondary subplot in the series while he's going around fighting monsters, inhabiting bodies, kind of like Quantum Leap meets Person of Interest in the Dresden Files world. He's trying to piece together his old life, who he was, his identity, all of that. So that's a huge theme in the Gray Report: identity, personality, identifying with more than just your body. Because Vincent Graves doesn't have a set body; he's not set by a gender. Well, he does identify as a male. Again, it's his choice. That's who he identifies with. That's how he feels his soul is. That's what he at least thinks he remembers himself as. So part of this is the idea that identity isn't bound to anything physical. It's personal, which is something I touch upon in the second book when I start bringing in names and the power and magic behind that and identity. And that's going to be fleshed out more in my next series, Dangerous Ways, or the Books of Winter. And the first novel is Dangerous Ways. Okay. Question from Theodore. Most authors have some sort of sign to themselves that they've made it. What's your sign? Have you reached it, or are you still working towards it? Um, for me, my sign, I guess, that I've made it would be a full-time living that all I could do is write. I don't have to worry about anything else to help maintain my income. And I'm getting there. I am getting closer. At this point in time, my income threshold also happens to be luckily low. I don't need that much to get by. Um, but I guess the average full-time career salary, if I was making that through writing, that would be my sign I made it. I do admit for me it's a fully shifting and raising bar. I'm pretty sure once I hit that, I'll raise it and try to go, maybe now I should try to make a better living or put out a certain more amount of novels, get more series done, maybe land a publishing contract. At this point, I'm still working towards it. Like I said, I'd like to make a full-time living. I'd like to get the Grave Report out at least into 10 books in the next, 5 to 10 years. I want to at least do one Grave Report novel a year, if not two some years. I honestly, yeah, all I can say is I'm working towards it. I do believe it's an ever-shifting bar. I've seen authors change what it means for them. Yeah, full-time living. I guess I'll go with that. That seems easiest. And thank you, Trine. I hope I said your name right out loud. If you hear the keys clicking, this is me trying to get more nanos into this event to help support all the indie authors, because Nano is a wonderful community that does exactly that. They've supported us really well. And sorry my keyboard's loud. I have like typewriter keys, but for me that's something I'm gonna admit, it's psychosomatic. Hearing the keys click helps keep me typing. I like hearing that sound. How many books have I got saved up in my brain? Whew. That is a lot. Okay, so the Grave Report is slated for 20 to 30 novels. It's open to adaptation because most series have a giant meta plot, and that's it. And they have a few subplots in between. I based this sort of off comic worlds in that I wanted to create the largest urban fantasy universe I could. So the Grave Report has its meta plot, it has the subplots, and in between the meta plot, I'm going to have another set of subplot arcs that accomplish other things, because I sort of borrowed this from Litfic, and it said nothing's really ever set. There isn't always a smooth plot. Now, genre fiction does, demand this. It wants an ending, and that's fine. But my goal is to sort of create other subplots through this where, Vincent is going to tick off other creatures and people in this universe. They're going to have their own stories centered around this and hampering and involving Vincent. So some of those novels will pop in and they have a mini story within the story. And it's not just a subplot of his identity. It's, dealing and creating a sort of permanent resolution with some of these characters and events that happen in this world that may or may not necessarily, connect wholly with the meta plot. Which is why I say 20 to 30 novels. There'll be some standalone novels in there where they resolve one thing. They might add to the meta plot, but they're more about resolving something else in the series. And each Grave Report novel is also written to be sort of a standalone. You can pick one up, it recaps some events, and it's a Monsters of the Week novel. You can read them as that, and then you can also read them as part of the series. I always wanted that. That's one series in this giant urban fantasy world I've been trying to create. I have the Books of Winter coming out. That's 4 to 5, giant novels around 170K. That puts me at what, 25 to 35 novels? and that's just 2 series out of 6 more I know in this universe. I have a steampunk, I don't know what the word for four would be, but a 4 book series that I've got planned in my head. I have an epic 20 book fantasy that I've already written out and I've got charted. I have titles. I have a meta plot. I just need to get to start writing it. Um, Fall, November, Nano. Hopefully, I will be starting a one-off standalone speculative fiction along the lines of something Neil Gaiman would write, like Neverwhere, American Gods. That's going to be going to a British publisher, hopefully published next year. Tetralogy. Thank you, Wolfen. That will be going to a British publisher, hopefully for publication next August or late fall. So I have 2 books coming out next year. The third novel in the Great Report and that. I am currently writing short stories in my spare time. For those of you who are familiar with my Quest World, short stories comedy fantasy series right now, which is has only been short stories at this point. Um, the same publisher who's published the Longest Nights Watch anthology, Stardust Always, and will be publishing the second Longest Nights Watch anthology for Alzheimer's Association, has asked that I create an entire line of Quest World short stories for one dedicated anthology solely for that. It's going to be the first paid anthology that pays that publisher, so hopefully it can help grow that company and allow more indies to go in and get into the publishing game, because right now all those anthologies have been charity. This will be a precursor of Quest World stories to set up a novel line that will be following the main character that I've introduced so far, Chance Fortunes, as well as several other characters I've talked to the publisher about that might blow this up into these will be actually published books. They'll have standalone novels. There'll be a series. Yeah, Lacey needs to get paid. That's what this is sort of for. I've already committed to giving her a full fleshed out like how many characters I'm going to do. Chance Fortunes, the Wizard of Misfortune, will be getting his own comedy fantasy story that's going to be following sort of in the line of Pratchett-esque novels. You know, they're making fun of tropes. Quest World, for those of you who've read it, makes fun a lot of the stereotypical fantasy, like in video game Skyrim, the questing idea that you can find guilds and just go in and heroes and mages and rogues can just pick up jobs. Except Chance always wrecks his job because his power is bad luck for everybody, including himself. I'm going to be introducing more characters to the short stories through their POVs, and some of them will be getting their own entire series. So it's kind of mimicking the Grave Report in this, that there will be multiple fantasy series across multiple fantasy characters in the same unified world. Um, yeah, that's just a few projects I have. I have tons of standalone novels I've got to start. One is kind of like a post-apocalyptic science fiction horror that I'm working on in my head right now because I do pants. I couldn't begin to tell you. I've got sci-fi that I want to introduce magic into, and I have all these series thought out in my head. I just need time and money to start. Um, yeah, at least 100 novels. I know that because I've counted that out. I've got a sheet of loose leaf paper like put in my little bank over there, little piggy bank thingy I have, and it's just got titles and novels that I'm committed to. Yes, that's exactly what it's supposed to be like. I didn't think about Thieves World until you reminded me. Thank you. But yeah, the anthologies are going to set all this up as a precursor, showing characters, showing 2 sets of 2 characters that I want to have their own series for. They're kind of like dynamic duo scenarios. One is not so great. The relationship is kind of tense and fractured because they're siblings. The other two is really weird and kind of stoic, awkward for the fact that they're 2 different personality types, but they work really well together. And it's based around alliterations. That's going to be a huge joke in the series. But like I said, all of these, even the more serious of them, will still be comedy, fantasy driven novels. And hopefully they mean Lacey can get paid really well. My goal is hopefully to earn enough money off the anthology that with it, she can use them to invest in ISBNs and start getting those for a publishing company, start releasing hardcovers and paperbacks for any novels she puts out in stores, which would be really great for her side and WCP Press. Um, yeah, and I'm open to questions or about marketing, writing, anything any nanos want to know. If I keep looking up, it's because my monitors are tiered vertically. So I'm reading questions from up top while I'm watching Facebook down here and also managing like my screencast, making sure it's recording fine. But yeah, like I said, I'm open to anything you guys want to know about. And yes, sorry for the late reply. I would like to be able to possess people after I die so I could keep writing. Or be immortal. Either or. They're both fine with me. But yeah, like I said, I'm open to anything you guys want to know. All right, I'm going to take a second to post this in the group. So Theodore, if you see this, I am just posting a post for links to my short stories and stuff that's going to need your approval. That just went up in the group. That's just honestly just for free short stories. So people who are new to this, if they want to get a taste of my writing, if they want to see precursors to stuff that I've written, that will hopefully get them into some of Lacey's anthologies, which I'll go to charity, that would be the place to do it. What are your go-to platforms for marketing? Okay, the biggest one that's helped me the most, aside from Facebook and social media interaction, which I believe is massive, because prior to Facebook, from what I've learned through marketing and from even some bestsellers, was mailing lists. They're really big. They're really big. That was before a lot of social media took off and people were able to interact directly without just bombarding you kind of a blanket statement, hey, check out my book. So I understand why they're big. I've never had one. I only just started one. For me, it hasn't had much impact, but the social media has been great. Being able to interact instantly. I don't have to force people to sign up. I can sell them on my personality. I can just be nice, talk to them. Other than that, I've actually done a lot of guerrilla marketing since I haven't had the backing of a publisher. One of the biggest things I've done is, which I'll go grab right here, is these guys. The little bookmarks that I always have. People see these in the NaNoWriMo Facebook group. They're, really affordable. I get like 5,000 from the printer I use for about $100, $110. Then you throw in shipping. It's not that much, but 31-cent stamp or a couple, I can mail bundles of 20 across the country, and people are nice enough to collect them. They want them, they'll share them, they'll put them in bookstores, and it has permeated and gotten my name out there. It works. It's cheap. I have people requesting 200, and they're going to take them to writing groups. They're going to leave them in Starbucks, bookstores, all that kind of stuff around the country, and it's so cheap. It works. It's permanent. It's something that, people like bookmarks. Readers will use them. It's not just a business card. It's not just a link. It's something that I try to make high quality. It represents my brand. It has my cover image on it. I sign it to personalize it, and people can use it. They can use it in that book or anything else. Other things I've done is I've held like photo contests, which I just do, anytime. I just make it public, and I always try to keep people aware that if you take cool photos with my bookmarks or books or any books, just share them with me, and I'll reshare them on my author page. I like getting people involved in that. It's just fun. If you take a good photo, why not share it? Throw it up on Instagram. I'm a huge believer in word of mouth, and that you should be your own biggest fan first. So other things I do and I share on social media, like across Funko Pop sites, the internet, YouTube, with people on my author page, is some of the stuff I've invested in and just, keeping me writing and building my brand, which should be Funko Pops. And I've got some of these here. Just taking photos and sharing these. Like this is a custom made, Vincent Graves from book 1. That's him as Norman Smith's body. You can see the little number 13 tattoo right there. They've got the detail. He's wearing the suit from the first novel. He's got that body. Here is Camilla Ortiz in her all blackout, FBI little, multi-piece suit. Everyone knows who this is, He's got the pocket protector on his shirt, glasses, locks of wavy blonde hair, church. Vincent from book 2. You see he's got the gray kind of overalls from when he was in the mental asylum. He's got the stake, and he's got, if you look really closely, let's see if the camera clears up on that, the number 44 tattooed on his left arm from the second book. And then lastly, for those of you far enough into Grave Measures, you know who this is because of the ears on top of her head and the long blonde hair that turns to white by the end of it, and then the flowing kind of moonlight pearl dress. New character that comes into the series in book 2, and she'll be throughout the series as, you don't know if she's good, bad protagonist, but she's in it for herself. So she's honest about that. Alright, so other things I've done for marketing and that have helped gotten my name out, aside from networking with people, is, with the help of my mentor, he's helped me create these, which are really cool, and these have gone out to a few people in the writing world, and hopefully we're going to be creating a line of these to sell, so you'll be able to buy these off a certain site, which I will link eventually. Right now you can find a lot more like these on the site PB Engineering on Etsy. That's the username you're going to be looking for. It's based out of here in Virginia, and oh, there's a little bit of glare. Let me turn that off. A light. Okay, so this is a Grave Beginnings laser etched glass. It's tempered glass. You really can't break it unless you intend to. You see the cover image there, and as you turn it slowly, you can start to see an opening of a cemetery. Keep turning it, and it's the actual cemetery with some of the headstones and images from the opening of the book. So if you kind of turn it, it's like the opening to the novel itself. It's a little story of Vincent in the cemetery and getting out. And then very few people, except unless you're on my friends list, have seen this. This is the new glass that just came out that we made. And this is for, oh, there we go, Grave Measures, Book 2. This wasn't around earlier this year. You can see the cover image right there. And as we turn it, same deal as before. You can sort of see the openings to a really famous New York mental asylum. It's old, it's outdated, it kind of looks haunted. It's a real place, and it has the name of it right down there along the bottom. And it's the same thing because for those of you who have already started, Grave Measures takes place in a mental asylum set in New York. And that setting is important because it is built upon later why that particular place, needs Vincent's services. Other than that, some of the other marketing things I believe in would be doing stuff like this, getting involved with the indie author and reading community, doing events like this, just taking the time out to help other people share, talk about yourself. It's all good exposure. You get to interact with people, get to say hi, friends and new faces, get to give out some of your products and be nice and let people try out your work. You get to share with the marketing tips like what I'm trying to do. As y'all know, my career is still growing, and I try to share that in the NaNoWriMo Facebook group. One of the things that I've gotten to now is with the blessing and wonderful kindness of my fan group, I've been given ISBNs, meaning I can now officially publish my works through Ingram, getting some of my stuff in stores. I still haven't familiarized myself with all the nuances of the publishing side of that, but I have learned hardcovers at the very least are a really good option. They're affordable. I'll be able to get them into stores even at a discount for the retailers and allowing returns, but that exposure will pay off, and I actually won't be losing money on the hardcovers. Paperbacks is a whole different issue. I'd have to look into the printing costs. From what I understand, they do have mass market paperback sizes, but the print quality would still be more comparable to trade print, which is more expensive, meaning I'd actually be losing money in some regards to that, because if they get those in a smaller size, it's more print pages at a higher quality, and they still want returns. I'd have to sell them at a cheaper price because they're paperbacks, but the return and the discount would make it so I'm making like cents, per copy, and if they get returned, those are dollars I have to pay back. And the net, profit and all that loss kind of stuff doesn't add up. So it looks like my best bet right now would be getting hardcovers in stores for the exposure. I would be making less off them. However, hardcovers would also be allowed in, the online retailers where I would lose nothing. You just buy it at the normal full price. I'd get a better cut of it. So the store thing would really be more for exposure. I could, day one, call up a bunch of Barnes and Nobles in my area, do signings over a week, one a night at every one of them. They would buy them in bulk. They'd get them in the stores. They would likely sell because a local author's there. Things I would do to help them sell for anyone curious, again, more of the marketing stuff. Talk up the awards fact. Any credentials you have, like for everyone here, any of you nominated for these, use that. They gave you the little symbol, the Indie Book Awards thing. You can put that on your covers from now. You can put that on your editorial blurbs for your books and pages. You can approach people with that. So what I would be doing is approaching them that I was nominated for the Dragon Awards, just alongside bestsellers like Jim Butcher, Larry Correia, N.K. Jemisin, who is a Hugo Award winner as well as a World Fantasy Award winner, and I think she was also nominated for Nebula. So you would walk in with those credentials and talk to them. That's listed on my cover. Show them so they would be more inclined to carrying me, and hopefully, if it goes well, they would be putting me on premium displays, which are when you walk into the front of the store and they see like the bestseller and the award nominated authors up there. That alone helps, drive sales and everything. More than that, I'm still learning marketing. Anything I learn, I would love to share. And yes, East Coast tour, that's hopefully the plan. I would be starting in Virginia, and if sales keep taking off, obviously Washington D.C., Maryland, close to me. I'd go down a few states, hopefully as far as Georgia, so North Carolina South, Georgia, because you could drive there. Or I could take an Amtrak train. I wouldn't have to carry much with me except for a sleeping bag and stuff, or get cheap accommodations. Norway tour. um, if I actually start making enough money for this that I can just afford trips, I would be traveling internationally because I have a really low overhead and personal cost of living. I just need to make enough mostly to finance the next step of my marketing, which would be traveling. Right now, most of what I have is invested in producing more books, getting by on living, which again, those costs are really simple, and marketing, which again, as you see, most of my marketing is free or dirt cheap. I try to get best bang for the buck. So the bookmarks were the cheapest thing, but they're high quality and it's something that's smart because I don't personally have to be there giving them out. I can mail them across the United States to anyone who's open, and people are kind enough to help share that. So yeah, if I start making money, I would love to come to Norway and do a tour there because ironically, after the U.S., the place I sell the most books is Amazon DE, which is the German countries, Austria, Germany, I think Norway, Finland, and a lot of the small countries around there all fall under that bracket for purchase. So I clearly have fans there, and I'd love to see. Worldcon is happening there next year, I think in Finland. I can't be sure. It's one of those small European countries, so I mean Norway isn't that far as United States geography is concerned because so many of us drive to other states. Space Atlantis tour. Yeah, I wish. If I had the money to get into outer space, if only, I'd be living pretty nice. But yeah, I'm open to. I might have been promoting. Oh, thank you. Well, I need to find a way to mail you a ton of more bookmarks. Hopefully, when Dangerous Ways gets closer to production, I will have the money. No, I will have the money. Not hopefully. I will have the money to get bookmarks made for that and send those out. Um, there's also a plan to kidnap you and bring you to Ontario. I like Canada, and one of the biggest things that I do like about Canada, for any of you who are out there and you're not aware of this, ISBNs are free for you. Professional, like legal grade ISBNs for full production of novels are free. Utilize that. From my understanding, you pay a small shipping fee just to get a copy of your novel or two copies registered with your library for your country or whatever. Like we have a Library of Congress in the United States. I don't know what the national version of that would be there, but as long as you do that, your ISBNs are free, meaning you can publish through Ingram. You can get into stores. You don't have this massive ISBN chunk cost. You can at the very least get hardcovers done, which are a good idea because everything I'm learning about the marketing side now entails why you want to launch with the hardcover first alongside with your ebook because it's the premium collector's item. If you make a good quality one, people want that. They want that up front if they ever bump into you to sign. Then you later release a paperback. But your royalties as an author are much higher on a hardcover. It's a higher quality. It promotes a certain level of professionalism. For those of you who don't know, like let's say New York Times bestseller Jim Butcher, he didn't get hardcovers of his early novels, not for years. Stormfront was published 2000, 2001. The hardcover came out around 2007, 2008. That's 6, 7, 8 years after the initial paperback because you have to sort of earn your way to your hardcovers. As an indie, as long as you have the means to design one and you have an ISBN, Ingram will allow you that option, and there's no upfront cost because it's print on demand. So you will have that online. You'll have that available to stores if you set up the proper discounts and allow returns. It's good marketing, and that's something to think about if you're any Canadians watching this. You can get some of your product into stores. My advice would be, from everything I'm learning right now and trying to crunch numbers and do the math, don't saturate and get every version of every book into bookstores. Start with the hardcovers because you have the highest return on them. They cost more, meaning even after the discount, you can make more, so you can afford to give them to bookstores at a discount and even take returns. So really, with that option, you're paying for exposure. You're not really losing out on the online market, which I do want to point out for a lot of people watching this, that Hugh Howey himself, self-published, extremely famous and successful indie author, probably making millions, has said that the vast majority of his print book sales still happen from online, like Amazon, the Barnes& Noble online site. People just order it and have it shipped to them or they pick it up in the store. And that really is where it seems like the industry is going. Online sales are just more convenient. Amazon will price match any in-store brick and mortar place. You don't have to get up out of bed to go get them. I understand the people going to bookstore. I still love them, but depending on where you go and who you meet, it depends on the employees how forthcoming they are. Maybe some of them will have amazing recommendations. Amazon does have a pretty honest and open, reviewing policy. You can really gauge what might be of your interest. You can read samples there too. You can buy them cheaper on, Amazon or Smashwords or wherever because of Kindle options. What else? Let me think. Oh, the fact that you get price breaks with, some places will do bundle deals. Amazon has a really great marketing algorithm based on what not only what you've bought and looked at, based on other people who are reading similar books or have read similar books to you and what they're buying. Amazon will email you those. They'll curtail their page to showing you similar recommendations. And it's why they're doing so well. They really have gone customer oriented, which is one thing they're famous for. They have made it rough in some cases for some indies to get certain things done, but at the end of the day, they've also treated their indies really well at the same time by giving us a lot of options with almost no overhead involved, no upfront costs. Pretty much, if we've already done the work in getting the novel ready, they allow us the avenue to get it out there, both in paperback as well as ebook. And my Amazon print books from CreateSpace have been stocked in a lot of places. A lot of different libraries have different systems for where they'll allow it, but many have bought my CreateSpace books. So the photos have popped up in NaNoWriMo. I've seen them in some local indie stores already. Ingram just allows a more efficient model for that, and a lot more places are open to it. So some libraries will not, take your novel if you don't have it through them, which is the only reason I'm doing this. I'd like to get the hardcover up there, and I know there's an option to set up a really nice discount for libraries at the very least, so they could get a higher quality product, and the hardcovers, can take more abuse. So that would be good for a lot of public readers. Something else I would advertise a lot of nanos and people here in the author field to do if you want to help build your fan base and especially online presence, ask for reviews, not just on social media. At the end of your novel, there's nothing wrong with leaving a small disclaimer. I did that for my second novel. Ironically, that's the one with the least reviews, but it is new. We'll see how that happens. But I just asked, hey, if you enjoyed it, consider leaving a review. That's not bashing anyone over the head. It's a polite request. And I don't think it's asking too much of someone if they already ordered it off Amazon. Hey, if you liked this, consider stopping by to leave a review. Click some stars, and you can just say something as simple as, "It's a good book. I liked it." Or, if it's more nuanced for you, "I enjoyed it, but this and this bothered me, but it didn't detract from the read, blah, blah, blah." It can be as complex or as easy as you want, and that's the great thing. Reviews don't have to sell anybody else. They're used for that, but make it clear to people who are reading, they don't have to do that for you. Their job is not a salesman. They just have to give an honest representation of how they felt. So if they enjoyed it, that's all they have to say. That still adds up, and it still makes you look more professional. People will read that, and some people, that's all they want. They just want an enjoyable book. So if they see someone else enjoyed it, fine, that's it. They can read a sample. You don't have to write an essay, an amazing 10-page reviews like some people do, which are cool, but yeah. It's there's so much out there, and there's so many avenues to help market and build yourself that honestly I'd say the biggest thing is be open to adaptability and understand that since the whole retail side of this is changing more online, so is a lot of the expected avenues for marketing yourself. Nothing's set in stone. A lot of old school practices are phasing out, and some are lingering. Like I said, word of mouth is still the best, but now you have so many avenues of getting word of mouth out. You can start a YouTube show. One of the best things I've seen done is by fellow NaNoWriMo member Brandon Varnell. He runs an anime YouTube show, which is blown up for him in subscribers. He's actually passed me out, and he started far later than me, but it's really smart. He's niched in that. He's more consistent. He's doing it daily, something I should be doing. And because some of you know he writes an ecchi comedy manga-based series, it fits. His viewers are anime geeks. They love anime. They will want to read a manga series that's similar to that. I need to get better about that. My YouTube show's kind of all over the place, but that's who I am. For me, I'm more on not selling a brand. I'm doing this more for me. I like sharing about writing, motivational stuff, honing the craft, marketing stuff that I have shared. I do video games up here because it's close to my heart. And I will be, I guess spoilers, but there is an anthology in the works that will be partnered with a video game related charity for disabled people that I'm working on, spearheading and getting it off the ground first before we do an open call for people. And it's going to be video game oriented stories, so things like Sword Art Online. For those of you familiar with Ready Player One, I almost blanked on that. So things that are related to sci-fi, video games, and stuff like that. And that's a huge part of who I am. So my show's all over the place, and it's why, and I'm not as consistent as it with it, which I should be, which is why I'm having trouble building that fan base. But YouTube does work. Social media works. You don't necessarily need a mailing list. What another NaNoWriMo member did, and I think it's genius, and I should do is she opened an author group that's not just a fan group, it's more an author interaction group with her. But she has more people involved in it than some people do mailing list members. And it's not at a distance. It's not someone sending this email to you that's really cold and blank, like, hey, my new book's out, check it out. She's there on Facebook interacting with people. They can talk to her at any point. They can personal message her. They can comment her. She can pin posts and get people interactive and, build a community revolving around her and her interaction with people and help them and spur them on. And it's a great thing. And the NaNoWriMo's name is Kelly Blanchard, in case I didn't mention that. It's a really smart thing she did. And it's a great tool, and hopefully she continues to utilize that. Vincent would not stand for frozen trolls. They would die. Conclusion, Vincent needs to be put in frozen. If I could get Vincent into a Disney movie, that would be awesome. I can do, I will be doing short stories in the Grave Report, and full disclaimer, they will not be only set in New York. The main storyline takes place in New York because there are certain events and outside characters that are going to be interacting and influencing Vincent that are based there. He is not fixed in any one location. But the whole point of the series is I'm writing pretty much his worst case file or like worst weekend, like in any given month is what I'm doing, or after a period. So pretty much you're seeing the worst things to happen to him. So some of his short stories will be lighthearted, some will be bad, some will precursor his involvement. Like I'm going to do a short story that shows how he met Gnosis. There's like 80 new characters coming into book 3 because this is where the meta plot starts really. This is the intro to it, really. It's going to be vague for the audience, but you'll be able to pick up on what it revolves around now and some of the bigger players. So he's going to be meeting a lot of new people, and some are going to be introduced to the audience for the first time, but he's already known them. And I'm going to do short stories later to show where he's first met them, who they really are. I need a street team for... Yeah, I really do need to do that. I've admitted I need to make a public group. I have my private fan group, which has made the stipulation that I should not be involved in it because they get up to schemes and God knows what they do. And I'm going to respect that, so I'm going to have an open public group where I'm in, but it's not going to be my fan group. It's not going to be to interrupt with that. It's just going to be an interaction group. I'll be there. I'll be able to interact with people. It'll be more a public street team, and it's going to be fun. I'll be able to do stuff like this, hopefully, and do more YouTube live interactions, and hopefully the people there will keep me accountable, and I can answer questions live. I could do like writing seminars and crafts, anything I'm learning, and share with people, and stuff that people have learned there. Maybe I could give a more visual and audible voice in this format to other tips that people have. I want to create another community for that. It's not going to be anything trying to compete with NaNoWriMo or something. It's not that kind of thing. It's just more of a personal group, and hopefully fans and friends will come and join. And yeah, it's just going to be something where I can share and maybe start all these things that people have seen in NaNoWriMo, like teaching some writing stuff as I learn it, teaching other things, and maybe a smaller test group, if you will, before I let these things permeate out over YouTube publicly and other places. I do believe that, if I'm going to be doing things like this for any author, you should start off small and controlled so you have time to adapt, learn, and, refine it. Because the worst thing you want to do is spread out too quick. And anything you do, spread yourself so thin that you're not putting out something quality. And I think that's also indicative of how you should be doing your novels. It is a big trend in the indie community, and I will admit it is a successful one. But a lot of indie authors feel pressured to earn their incomes in such a short period of time that they produce a lot of novels faster and smaller novels, including, and I have this from personal experience I've interacted with, and I'm not going to name names, but intentionally cutting novels in half because they become too big and instantly getting 2 books. Now, I'm not against stories being spread out accordingly over several novels, but if you're intentionally cutting a novel and, tacking on, even if it works, a good ending and starting the second one as something else when it was meant to be one full piece, I'm not a big fan of that. Because, again, what I'm saying is I know from firsthand, experience that the only reason that's being done is not from the writing craft side. It's being done as a marketing tool. You're doubling the amount of releases you have. You can release them faster, get more novels out, build your name. A lot of authors I know who do this are making successful, careers. They're making a lot of money. I know one that makes like millions. Legitimately, God, what was her last estimate? Like $2.3 million as an indie with like 45 novels out, and she's putting them out fast. Her novels do well. She is not a household name, but she's consistent and she's successful, and it's just people buying it, and then that's it. They buy the next one. What I'm trying to do with my career, hopefully, is even though I'm indie, build a lasting career that would be, similar and relevant to almost any trade published author. I am trying to create a household kind of style name for myself because I want my books to endure because they mean something to me. I want them to mean something to other people. This is one of those things we talked about where you asked what's one of my, writing goals if I've made it. That would be one of them, getting closer to a household name. I know I'm not supposed to be doing things like comparisonitis and trying to get up there, but at the same time, it's not a comparison thing. I just want to be able to provide a level of standard and quality that resonates with people and that they take seriously. Even if I have 10 novels out versus an indie with 70 who's making 10 million, I'd rather be making a comfortable living with 10, but having my name out there and people associating it with quality more than anything. I don't care if they think I'm trade. I don't care if they think I'm indie. I want them to see the work as a quality piece, and that's one of those things where either is okay. Since we're still talking about marketing, if you are constantly producing novels and they're okay, they have decent editing, and which is what a lot of indies do, people will still like it. They'll buy it. You will be making money. Like I said, actually, the more successful indies I know are doing that. They are putting out tons of novels. Not to say that they're not quality, but they are producing them faster, and the reviews are a little bit more over the place. And at times, you can sort of see that. Um, I take a lot longer than even some trade authors to produce, which sucks. That has to do with some of my resources more than anything. But I started Dangerous Ways as a Camp Nano project last year. It was finished, the first draft, this January, meaning it was almost a year just writing the first draft. It was 181K. It's trimmed down to 170. I've gotten better over time, and even though my production time hasn't, it's a much better product. Everyone who has beta read it in rough right now has said it far outshines the Grave Report. It's better written. It's a better story. And I'm hoping that means that since I've already started the third one, that will be even better. But I do want to take the time to improve. As many of you've seen, I put out short stories for any anthology that comes up because it's practice. It helps people. I put up short stories for free on my website. I am currently going to be writing 3 to 4 more short stories right now for different paid anthologies, one for a charity one, and then I have to produce 7 separate ones for the compilation anthology, which I mentioned earlier, which will be going to Lacey, and will include some of my previously published Questworld ones. So I'm always writing and trying to up my game, but I'm not always publishing for earnings, if that makes sense. And this is actually not the best marketing tip, but it's something I believe in that helps in the long run. I always believe in polishing your craft first, so no matter what you put out, it'll be better quality, and I do believe quality sells itself. It just takes longer to do so. Now, if you could produce amazing quality at speed, yeah. But the list of authors that I know that can do that traditionally in indie is very small. In fact, the only one I can think of is Stephen King. He writes 2,000 words a day, every day. We all know, regardless of whether you like him or not, that he is a quality author. He's put in the time. He's invested in the craft. He's written short stories. He's written all manner of stuff from horror, speculative fiction, things like The Green Mile, short stories, Shawshank Redemption, things that have been adapted to movies, his standard horror, and then fantasy, Western dystopian fantasy, which is The Dark Tower, which is, his series and his magnum opus, if you will. He's written everything all over genres. That helps in that practice, and he produces novels multiple times a year. Short of that, the only people I see really doing that are indie authors, but the quality is a little bit over the place. I'm a huge advocate of do what the story demands, and what kind of writer you are, the rest will follow. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to get at, Theo. I'm sorry I didn't see that. I'm trying to balance the whole indie celebration thing also, and responding to posts, because I've been a little bit bad about that after I got swept up with this. So and make sure I'm doing some of that, but I will be answering any other questions since we still have 8 more minutes. And if people want, I can still keep going with this separate, as long as people make sure to involve themselves with, the indie group, because that's the whole main focus of this today. So let's see what other questions. I should have got a drink of water. I have water. Yay. I planned ahead. Sorry. My mouth feels like I gargled with sawdust, which I am now going to use that simile somewhere because I like it. Wow, that was a lot of marketing. Something I will touch upon: paid ads. If you are starting out, As an indie author, I would personally say no to paid ads. I know some that have done it and they've gotten moderate returns. I'd wait to build your bibliography because if you're doing a series sell themselves. You want to have more than one book invested in it. Um, Most people that have done paid Goodreads, Amazon, and Facebook ads that I know of, they have not worked out until these people have massive books. I know one person that spent $3,000. She made it all back and then some, as well as introduced her series to more people. And then the buy through rate of that, not just her fans, but people getting into book one that weren't there before, and now they bought into that. And she has multiple series for the record. She has about like 21 novels out. That works. Starting out, use your money to invest in word of mouth. You want people who are excited talking about your work, not a blanket ad on Facebook that says, hey, check this out. And you have one book out and maybe you're just starting to get reviews. That's not going to sell it. Ads don't sell themselves. They need to represent something quality. Better than that, get people who like your work to talk about it because, they're talking about people who trust them and they're selling your work on it. It's not you. That creates a different sort of connection and it gets people involved and they want to. Will there be any celebrity bodies Vincent jumps into? If I can pull it off legally, yes. I'm actually still looking into that. I've had to actually delete something from the Books of Winter because it was a song reference. And the song that I borrowed, the musicians behind it, aren't friendly towards a lot of indie use, whereas some other stuff I have done with some songs that have either been public domain or I've done a small enough snippet and the band has a really cool laid back attitude to that kind of stuff, they don't care. So celebrities fall into the same you know thing where I've got to be really careful since I can't be vague about it. If he's using that body, part of the whole thing is the identity and who he's involved in. I have to name them. I have to give them a face and an identity. And granted, given the things something sometimes Vincent says, and he can be polarizing and snarky and paint a body in a bad light. It's really tricky. If I find out I can do it, yes, I would love to. So far I've kept a lot of the celebrity stuff just as veiled references. And I'm going to be poking jokes that sometimes some celebrities are monsters or they're paranormal creatures. That's the most about I can do right now without getting in trouble. Because I can't afford to be sued. It's really tricky. If I find out I can do it, yes. Alright, I'm just trying to catch up to everything in the indie group as well. Which seems to be going really well. Yay! Close this. Yeah, 5 minutes left. Any more questions? I can stick around. I don't know if anyone will want me to and just keep this personal on a few people because I don't want to take away from the group. If not, I'm more than happy cutting this off here and I'll just go back through. And I know authors who've already previously had their hour are still interacting through their own posts, bumping other people's as well as keeping engagement up overall for the group. And I can do that if everyone would prefer that. I can just cut this off in a couple minutes and stick around and post and answer questions and go through and give somebody here copies of Grave Beginnings and Grave Measures in Kindle form. Everybody that seems to be here is already, from my knowledge, read it or aware of it. There are a lot more people in the actual group I'm seeing who aren't and are new, so I'd like to give some of them a chance to win it. Besides, Wolfen has, I think, the last copies of the first editions of the Create Space print versions of the novel before the new cover update, which went live through today. It's not reflected on Amazon, but now it does say Dragon Award nominated author, because that's another marketing tip I want to talk about, I guess, before we close. Anything you have, use it. Especially, something like the Dragon Awards, which, are now the largest science fiction fantasy awards because of the amount of attendance that they bring. Worldcon for the Hugos has about 4,000 members. DragonCon's open to the entire internet public as well as the convention goers themselves, and that's 70 to 90,000 people. It's like the prestige of the Oscars, but the input of the People's Choice Awards. It's really important getting that on there. It's no different than when you see an author that says Hugo Award nominated or Hugo winner or New York Times bestseller. All those are indicative of different forms of quality. Mine would be that people cared enough and there was enough people to push behind showing that they loved the novel, that it should be represented in that category. Same with the Hugos. New York Times bestseller is indicative of the fact that this is already a successfully selling series. People love it. People love the novel. It sells itself, so you might as well buy it. All those things should be represented, and you should take pride in them as an author, no matter whether you're indie, trade, or hybrid. So being in the spirit with this entire event, anyone nominated for this, even if you're part of the anthology that's nominated for it, use that in your credentials and resumes. Awards are awards. Nominations are nominations. They all carry some level of merit. Sure, some outweigh the others, but that doesn't mean the others aren't worth anything at all. They add to your credentials. They add to your resume. Being part of a nominated anthology, because so many of us are involved in that for this, that adds to you. That says you're a good short story writer. You are part of a project that was nominated, and your story's in it. It helps carry that. It only adds to it. So for a lot of people here who are trying to think, I think Stardust Always, as well as The Longest Night's Watch, both are nominated. So that's a lot of authors. I think Stardust Always was about, what, 50 people involved? And then Longest Nights is, God, what, 15, 20? So yeah, and thank you. Yes, Wolfen makes the clearest point. DragonCon is more fandom centric, meaning the people, fans, are involved. Where the Hugos is sort of traditionally publishing, and he does make a point. It's the establishment. It's paid voting. Not that money is involved in swaying votes, but you have to come up with the fee to attend Worldcon or at least buy a ticket. That's expensive. It's smaller turnout. It is sort of an old boys club. Not that I'm knocking that. It still is a long-running standard of science fiction fantasy publishing. DragonCon, though, is open to the fans, which is the most important thing, I think, in publishing, because who makes the sales? Who buys this? If you're a publisher, Hugo-nominated authors are great, but publishers do focus on sales. Who are you going to go with? The person that was nominated and won at a convention that represents tens of thousands of people and it's all open to voting and it's their suggestions? Keep in mind, these are the people buying the novels. This is what they want. Or a sort of closed-in group of short story and novel writers, about 4,000 people, and you have to pay to vote. It does sort of isolate other authors and other voices, and the industry is changing. I am not in any way trying to knock the Hugos. They're still, one of these standards of publishing. But they have isolated a lot of people. Over a few years, they've even created a lot of tension between them, which I'm not going to try to get into, but there have been some rifts. DragonCon's just open to the public. Everybody has a voice, even if you can't go. You, at the very least, can say, hey, this is the book I liked. Maybe it won't get nominated, maybe it won't win, but I liked it and I'm going to give it a vote. That matters because it lets the authors see who their fans are, and it lets publishers see who's popular, who gets the fans. And that matters in terms of sales. And that's the end of the hour. I'm going to leave this open. If anyone wants me to continue, I'll wait for a few comments. If not, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'll close this down. I'll just go back to editing the Books of Winter, and I will just be popping through NaNoWriMo as well as this group and helping boost posts. There's only about 11 people watching, so I know it's not something super crazy in demand. And yes, the Hugos have been more political lately. And it's sad. Again, I'm not going to try to go into it, but I just, as an indie, all I've ever been able to do and care about is just the work itself. That's the only option I've had. I'm not connected in all these nuanced webs of people and things like that, and this craziness between publishers and all these established authors who have formed voting blocks for this or that. I'm just, as far as they're concerned, a nobody, which is why I like the DragonCon Awards. It's just public fans. I don't need to have crazy connections. I just have to have people who love my work speak out and share it and hopefully have enough. And it's a wonderful award, and I will be working on hopefully attending next year to hopefully meet some of my fans, because I know a lot were there. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for hosting me. I'm just going to be going back, keeping my posts circulating and sharing stuff there. I won't be trying to post anything new. Anything I post now will just be keeping in there, keeping people engaged, and hopefully sharing more questions. So I'm going to leave this open for a few minutes. If anyone wants me to continue, say so. If not, I'll take that as a pretty clear sign to log off, and I'll get back to editing and hopefully making stuff so I can continue to produce for you all. I'm just going to be going back, keeping my posts circulating and sharing stuff there. I won't be trying to post anything new. Anything I post now will just be keeping in there, keeping people engaged, and hopefully sharing more questions. So I'm going to leave this open for a few minutes. If anyone wants to continue, say so. If not, I'll take that as a pretty clear sign to log off, and I'll get back to editing and hopefully making stuff so I can continue to produce for you all. Alright, still no comments. So I'll wait for a few more minutes. If not, then I'll just tab it out. I see the viewers going down, so that might be indicative of time for me to shut up, which is fine. and the viewers just went back up. Uh, I I don't know what to make of that. Thank you. Talk forever. Okay. I can do that. About what though? Kind of shared everything marketing wise. As I've noted, I'm still oh, my neck. Sorry. Learning about marketing. Oh, I could talk about ideas I've had for marketing and stuff that some indies who come by later and watch this might find interesting. I've created a better launch plan for my next works. Dangerous Ways will be getting a better push. I'm going to be bleeding out a lot of ARCs in PDF format to under the condition that day one people leave reviews, which will definitely help that boom, and a lot of ARC reviewers on the internet. There's a great website called the Indie Reviewer, which has a compiled list of reviewers based on the genre they review, their turnaround tables, and how to get them copies that they prefer. Most of them will do e-copies, whether in PDF, Mobi, Kindle, stuff like that. Great way to build that up. You can even get editorial blurbs. So I'm going to be hunting for that. So I will be looking for fellow nano authors, anyone who wants a sneak peek, and if I can swing it at the time, an ARC to get editorials, because I will be getting a hardcover out for this. So in the back of the dust jacket, I will have other author snippets. And my way of doing this is going to be, if you're kind enough to do that, I will put your name and your snippet on the back as a review. I've already got some that I'm going to be using, like a Drop of Ink reviews. Other UF authors will be leaving me blurbs on the back for credentials. The Dragon Award nomination, the fact that it's a Best Book of 2015. Well, it's a book from an author who won that. And other reviews. And the great thing is, if this does well, and I will be getting this in the stores and doing a signing push, everyone will see those names on the back. It has worked for other authors I've done this with editorials. It does help trickle sales to you. It's that association, and that's something I want to do. The link for the Indie Reviewer, I can do that right now. Let's see. I found it. Give me 1 second to copy and paste this. I know there's already a delay on YouTube. You're probably not seeing this as I'm saying it. YouTube is really nice about putting the delay up so I have time to respond. Boom. There is the link. Ironically, the chat is instantaneous and this is not. That is a fantastic website with a huge list of compilations for anybody you could possibly imagine in any genre. And like I said, I will be doing a hardcover push because hardcovers are, not only great for marketing, they're great quality, people like them, and they make you more. And plus, I finally want hardcovers. I've been blessed with enough ISBNs that depending on how I do it, if I do a paperback that's to a novel, if I don't, because the CreateSpace paperbacks are already sufficient, the hardcovers will be available everywhere, including libraries and stores. I might just do hardcovers, and 10 ISBNs means I have 10 hardcovers already set for me. By the end of next year, I'll only be 4 or 5 books in, meaning I have much longer on that, and I have time to save up and get more ISBNs. And this means I'll be able to buy hardcovers to give to fans, because I will be giving hardcovers out, mailing them out. I need to figure out how to get Wolfen to spill, and at least find out privately, if that's okay, who helped me with the ISBN, so at the very least I can sign and send them hardcovers as money allows it. Yeah, that meant a lot to me, so I will be trying to repay that kindness however I can, including sneak peeks, free ups on short stories. I might even create a personalized novella just for my fan club only. I am a huge believer in doing things for the people that do stuff for you and doing stuff for people regardless, because people are awesome. That has been like my entire motto behind my writing career. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. Random. The viewers are actually going up, so now I feel like I'm taking from the indie group. I might actually close this down and just decide to get to work, because I think I've taken enough of everyone else's time. I don't know who wants to keep watching this. I feel like some people are... Okay, now it's going down. Yeah, okay, I guess I will close this off then. I've gone 10 more minutes extra. It seems like these are popular. If people want, I'll leave this open for just enough minutes to this question loads up and I can get a response. I'm okay with doing this at least twice a month starting off, seeing if people want to do more live interactions and ask questions as my career's evolving, what I'm learning to share. And if that's okay, then I'll start doing it. Maybe it'll evolve into weekly and we can get nano evolved. And it doesn't have to be involved with events, so it'll just be weekly live streams. So I'll leave that open to chat for a few seconds and just see if people say yes. If that works out, then excellent. If not, then I'll just do these for events. And later too for everybody. Okay, yes. Okay, I guess that will be a thing. So when, this will be me saying bye, and I actually will maybe do this the last weekend of September. It's about 2 weeks off. I guess I'll do it at the start of October, 1st or 2nd. One of those days I'll put this out to Nano and I will start doing that. So thank you everybody for watching. This will be me signing off, and thank you for having me. Okay, I guess that will be a thing. So when, this will be me saying bye, and I actually will